Over the heart of the valley, we rise so bright, where the news flows freely in the morning light. Yuba-Sutter.live, where truth comes alive. Every Tuesday's a journey, it's where we thrive. Watch it unfold. Yuba-Sutter.live, in the heart of our home. Be informed, be wise. Yuba-Sutter.live, we capture it all. Policy debates, hear the people's call. With Yuba-Sutter.live, you'll never miss a beat. Special reports hit hard, shining a spotlight. Yuba-Sutter.live. Yuba-Sutter.live.
Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
Present.
All right, consent agenda. Just a second. We have a lot of stuff on the agenda today, so we're going to do. Can you hear me? All right, consent agenda. Somebody can't hear me. Oh, okay. All right. Just going to mention we have a lot of agenda today, so we are going to just take it in small steps. First of all, we have the consent agenda. All matters listed under consent agenda are considered to be action items that are routine and can be enacted in one motion. Do we have a motion?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay with me. Okay, we're going to special presentations. We're going to take it a little bit out of order. We're going to do 642, present a proclamation to Kathy Jordan, honoring her years of service. And Kathy could come up. And Manny, are you coming up?
Wow.
This is Ted Langell in the Yuba-Sutter.live news.
Can you hear
Here's
me?
Don Blaser.
Yes. So we're honoring Health and Human Services Social Worker 2, Kathy Jordan. There is her husband, Manny. Good to see you. Okay, whereas Kathy Jordan grew up hearing experiences from her grandmother, and knew it was in her blood to help people. On August 18th in 2003, she began employment with Yuba County as a Health and Human Services aide in prevention services. There is where her passion for social work began, and whereas it can be said in prevention services is where Kathy learned she had the keen aptitude to establish trust and rapport with individuals seeking support and removing personal barriers to self-sufficiency, which is a key to motivating change. Kathy attended Yuba College during nights and weekends to obtain a certificate in substance abuse counseling to achieve her vision of becoming a social worker. And whereas in September of 2005, Kathy was promoted to Social Worker 1, holding that position for 14 years. During this time as a Social Worker 1, through her tireless dedication, she assisted countless residents in obtaining employment, achieving sobriety, receiving behavioral health services, and connected individuals and families to numerous valuable resources. It was through an abundance of compassion, empathy, patience, and caring that Kathy was able to support these individuals and families. It brought Kathy joy and pride to witness their hopelessness turn to excitement as they overcame obstacles. Whereas in September of 2019, Kathy joined public health in the Housing and Stabilization Unit as a Social Worker 2. She managed a caseload with one of the highest number of vulnerable participants in her unit, and at one point she assisted 100% of her caseload in obtaining and retaining permanent housing. And whereas those who worked with Kathy described her as someone who's committed to providing excellent customer service to both customers and coworkers, always remaining calm, dependable, passionate for social work, and is definitely a team player. Now therefore be it proclaimed, the Yuba County Board of Supervisors hereby commends Kathy Jordan for 21 years of dedicated service to the citizens of Yuba County and congratulates her on a most honorable retirement. Thank you for your service. Jennifer, do you want to come up with anybody else for photos, or you want to be here for a photo?
Maybe the HHS group that works with Kathy. You guys want to join her in a photo? Yes.
No, I think.
Oh, yes. Hey, you guys need to come on down there and fill out the other side. I didn't realize it's going to be half the chambers.
Congratulations. It flew by. It's a great time to work for.
Get to work. I believe our next one is going to be 610, Yuba County Historic Resources Commission. And we have Sue Moyer.
Yep.
David Reed.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, gentlemen supervisors, Mr. Mullen, and everyone else. We have a PowerPoint presentation to show you today, and we'd like to thank you again for your continued support for the Historical Commission. We do know running a county, we're probably pretty low on the totem of your cares and things, but what we do is essential and important. And the commissioners that you have appointed are enthusiastic and energy-full, and the things that we get, we share with the community and help with tourism. And we're working on the sign project, and we're working on a travel thing. We just spent the weekend at the Swan Festival, and so we're as active as we can be in joining community partners, which is our title. So David and I are going to share this presentation of what we've been doing the last year and how it's important, it's relevant to keeping history alive in Yuba County. David, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Great to be here wearing my historic commission hat rather than my Sutter Arts hat. Oops. Failed again. Help.
Is it working?
Okay, great. Sue was involved before I was with the founding of the commission, so you know the history of Yuba County, and we've been in existence since 2016. So, current members.
As Ron, and we thank you for appointing these people. They all bring something special representing an area. And we especially appreciate David, our at-large. He's endless enthusiasm and brings a different audience to being part of history. So we have Ron and Dale Whitmore. Dale is going to be applying for that district. Okay, he's in the process of doing that. So I think you just approved his appointment. And we have one vacancy still, Plumas Lake area. And Pat Camarina is actually a founding member and has been our secretary for these whole 9 years and is going to be retiring. And so, Gary, I know you have something for her. She thinks she might have COVID. She decided not to come today. And so we will take that presentation from you and give to her, and myself as chair. And the city of Wheatland, we do represent the city of Marysville. We have Stuart Gilchrist representing the city, and Wheatland is vacant at this time. And so our at-large, and that's because they don't live in a special district, Roberta Diarse, and she's our vice president, Kathy Smith, and David Reed. And so we appreciate that you gave us permission to have more at large that don't actually have to live in a district, but can be appointed for their personal history and what they want to share from their family and their experience.
I would like to mention that we'd, in addition to appreciate your help filling any open seats under your jurisdiction, but also Russ Brown retired. He'd formerly been our Yuba County advisor. If at some point someone needs a little something extra to do, we'll keep it painless. Keep it painless, and we'd love to have an official county advisor. Start with this one. We've got a recap of ongoing projects and programs.
So we just finished the Swan Festival, okay, and we're working on the sign project, and that is partnering. There's 162 historical signs that we have found so far, and so we are partnering with the people, but put those monument signs up. And so that, of course, is the Clampers, the Native Daughters, Native Sons, State of California, the historical societies, cemeteries and stuff. And our goal is to get their permission to put a QR code with a historical story of what else happened in that area and around. And so that's a very large project, and some of the funding you gave us is going to that project. So did I get it all, David?
Assessments, yeah.
Assessment, if you've been on the board for quite a while, you know, when we started this, the assessment records, we didn't have copies of them. They were downstairs in the basement molding away. And thanks to Kevin Mallon and Stephen Duckles, we recently found out that there's actually copies in the assessor's office upstairs. And so this project has taken a turn just in the last 6 weeks or so, Kevin, about right? And so those assessment records will be available to the public and to the commission. And we're in the process of going through county legal to work out the procedure of how to do that and getting a conference room. So after 9 years, Kevin, thank you for taking that off of our list and your list. And if Stephen's here, thank him too. And it's important. We're about the only county in California that doesn't have them digitalized for public assessment. So that's the next phase after we get there. So Linda, thank you especially for sticking with that project.
Monthly radio show.
Yeah, we have a monthly radio show. It's just called Let's Talk History. And so we share our history and events going on. And what's the last
This
one?
next year, we'll begin development of a Yuba County history smartphone app.
Yes, and we have a brand new website. So some of the funding you gave us went to that. So our ongoing projects, the oral history program. Every year we pick a family to do that, and we have, with Hyman Chimes passing, of course, you know, started Ace Hardware's Union Lumber is the oldest company in California still running. And so we're working with his descendants to do that. And inside, there is a pictorial of over 100 images of early California and Marysville. So we're working on that. So, David.
The Veterans Headstone, that's yours.
The Veteran Headstone Project is something that we're recognizing all of the veterans, starting in Yuba County and moving to both counties, recognizing them with the uncertainty of what's happening with the Forgotten Warriors Museum out there. This is an important project to recognize our veterans, so we're doing that. We're also volunteering to work in Marysville's birthday party. We have several projects we're going to share with that. The Arboga Center has been going on since 2007, and the last phase of that project will be an additional mural of actually saying the interred citizens that were actually at the Arboga Center. As you recall, our citizens were all sent directly to Tule Lake, and we still have people contacting us yearly who come here from Chicago.
I had a couple folks
Oakland.
from Chicago this year that came out just to see family members represented at the Arboga Assembly Center. Ryan Yamamoto from CBS San Francisco has been over twice talking about that project. He has a lot of family history around.
And his evening news program, it's been televised.
Yeah, kind of a big deal. So people come to see these things.
And so that project is the only one in California, and so we're proud to share that. And so,
the historic murals from the fair.
Oh yes, if you recall, the original Yuba-Sutter Mall, the murals that were hanging there of the brands and stuff of our farming industry, agriculture, they took them down when the new owners took it, and they generously gave them to us. We've been looking for a place to rehome them, and the Yuba-Sutter Fair is taking them and it's going to share with other fairs, because some of the murals are not just from our county, but the surrounding area. And so we rehomed them successfully this year too.
And speaking of recovered murals.
Yes, this is an ongoing project. This was donated to us anonymously, and it was hanging on the front of a stage. And so unfortunately, it's about 20 by 20. And I'm sorry you can't see this clearly. I couldn't get up high enough. But in the center is a mural of Lake Francis, and you will see W.T. Ellis when he had his insurance company. There are 33 then, and I'm guessing 1942, okay, merchants of Marysville, the businesses. And so it's historic in itself, and it's a canvas, it's hand painted. There is no author, so we can't give them credit, but we were hoping, John, that maybe there might be room in the new water building up in Oregon House, since Lake Francis is on there. I've talked to Dee Dee a couple times, and she's trying to work with the architect, and now it's nearing. I don't think you have any walls big enough here to hang it, but we would love to rehome this to some place that could be appreciated.
We completed the launch of the YubaCountyHistory.org website. We're still in the process of populating it. If you have any suggestions, thoughts, things that ought to be there, we'll keep postings of events there until we get the app going, and they'll work in, of course, a complimentary fashion. We'll put this presentation on there. We wanted you to be the first to see it, so didn't want to preempt ourselves. We have a live Facebook page. Right now it's a lot of sharing, but information about events for those folks that use social media. So again, bringing Yuba County history to the forefront and trying to reach out to more and more folks to orient them, educate them, and those folks that have been here multi-generations, we hope they'll share additional insights with us. This is just a representation of what we hope will be accomplished this next year with the development of a Yuba County history app. So you're walking around with your smartphone, you have immediate access to what's going on in terms of history in Yuba County. Sue mentioned earlier the History Trail Signs Project. I know Alon Hadamia has talked about, what's the name of that particular project that he's talked about? It has some fancy name, I forget what it was.
Oh, the Three Rivers Trail.
Three Rivers Trail, right. Regardless of that and however it may evolve, as Sue mentioned, there are just dozens and dozens of historic sites around the county. I mentioned to Supervisor Messick before, he had a social media post about Empire Mine, and one of the images he posted was a picture of one of their signs, information signs, like you go to a national park, you go someplace, there's information signs. But we want to do something a little more, and that's to add a QR code like we did at the Arboga Assembly Center, where you have, you know, a video that's immediately accessible on a smartphone about something to do with that particular location. We would hire local actors or docents to give information, like Sue, for example.
Yes.
You could, we video you talking about a particular location just to kind of bring it to life, in addition to graphics and text about that particular historic site. So we want to really bring that history of Yuba County that's so rich to life. This one is, again, in Marysville, pending approval. Dale Whitmore has really been championing this project. The Veterans Park in Marysville on 5th has the historic cannon, and nobody knows what it is or where it came from. So he came up with the idea to kind of do a demonstration project with these history signs. The QR, there's 2 of them, and each one has a QR code that actually has his grandchildren talking about their great-grandfather's time in service, and they're just really kind of neat little things that are very engaging, just young people taking an interest in local history, particularly related to veterans. This was a sample we did for the Mary Aaron Museum. Not likely to happen, but that would be a perfect site. We didn't have, there's a QR code on this one, enhanced with more images, maybe a little less text, but just because it's only open once a month. So it would be nice for people passing by, hey, what's the story? This is obviously a museum, and they can get some more information and maybe come back another day when the museum's open. Just a list of accomplishments. We mentioned several of these. I won't read every one, but you get the idea. Do you want to highlight a couple? Sue does a ton of school tours on a regular basis that I don't even know about most of the time.
The commission itself isn't as active as our members as individuals, and so we always give credit where we're coming from and sharing the history. And so you can see we work from seniors. I just did a presentation yesterday for the dolls. There were 120 ladies there learning our local history about the only woman buried at the Pioneer Cemetery in the Veterans Center. And so after 106 years, we found her story and we shared it, and we shared it a couple times. So these are just the things that our commissioners do. In addition to that, we're working with Indian Education. We just gave them acorns for their cooking classes, and we partner a lot with the Arts Council because they're arts and culture now. So there you see us.
Now, speaking of that, we last Friday evening hosted the annual American Indian Education Program, which is part of Marysville Joint Unified, their annual elder dinner and Indian student art show, arts and crafts. They do a lot with traditional ecological knowledge. I mean, making bows and arrows, collecting the clay at local sites, making tule boats from all the native materials. It's really incredible. It's still in the gallery if anybody wants to see it.
So we're hoping to partner with them and do another calling back of the Salmon Festival at Hammond Grove and the Kulu Village that the county sponsored years ago, working with, of course, the schools and the students and the community and bringing everybody up there to know that history.
We mentioned the Arboga Assembly Center, the Yuba-Sutter Rotary Nightclub, which I'm currently president, has taken on maintenance of that site. So we go out every couple of months and clean it up. Local neighbors also help with the weed whacking and weed abatement. So.
And you're appointing from the city of Marysville, Stewart. He's behind me back there. He designed the murals for there, so we need to give him credit for that too.
Absolutely. So.
So these are just some of the collections that we have. And to remind the Board of Supervisors, we still have the room at the courthouse. And so there was a confusion. The Sheriff's Department had moved stuff in there because no one was aware who actually had that room. So we just need to decide, I talked to Kevin about this, if we're going to continue using that room. We do store artifacts in there, the murals in there right now. So we still have the book collection of negatives, which David did the Day of Remembrance. We developed 100 of those images and we used those for the project out there. They were the ID photos. And then we did the district attorney, their dates of service, and then all of the information that the twins who were born and raised in the Arboga, we have their recollection. And then the original ride out, Bank of America safe, is in San Francisco, and they would like to bring it back to Marysville. It's not the one that's in the hospital now, it's an additional one, and it's heavy. We need a forklift, but Kevin and I were talking about maybe the assessor or tax collector might have room to put it on display there rather than it just stay in San Francisco, and nobody appreciates its origin. So that's a project we may entertain if we find a place to put it.
Someday when we get that Yuba County Museum.
Yeah, when we get a museum, we can move it to there.
Anyway, looking to the future, obviously lots more work needs to be done. We'll continue to do what we can to preserve and celebrate, in addition to collaborating with a lot of local organizations, different cultural groups. In the past, I think there's been some siloing of this information and history, so we'll do what we can to bring people out and get involved in a more holistic view. And as we mentioned with the American Indian Education Program, we do look at history from at least 10,000 years ago to more modern times. So I want to, of course, include all of that.
And I wanted to thank all of you for referring them. Sometimes I call a place and they say, oh, you need to call Sue from the Historical Commission. I said, I am Sue. So it is getting around. And Kevin recently suggested one of his department heads, Health and Human Services, Kevin, is that right? They had renamed a conference room, the Marigold Room, after Hampton and Marigold. And she called me, and so I connected her to the Criddle family, of course, born and raised there, and did the books. And for you gentlemen who don't know what Marigold is from, it stands for Marysville's Gold. And that's how the town got named. So thank you, Kevin, for that suggestion and connection.
Is that how Flowers got their name?
No, just the town.
Right, that was our Human Resources Department, their new conference room. And so they wanted to have a conference room name that signified, a historic location here in Yuba County. So thank you, Sue.
I get you a shirt that says I am Sue.
It's just showing that, we do partner with this many people, and the references you give to us, if we can't take care of their artifacts or their story, we rehome them to the proper place where they are. It's part of our job.
All right. Again, we'll continue promoting the history of Yuba County. We think there's a strong economic development component there through these various methods and formats. We'll continue to do our part. Thanks very much to the Board of Supervisors for your financial support these past couple of years. Yuba-Sutter Arts and Culture is proud to continue to act as the fiscal sponsor for that funding. So thank you.
Thank you. Have any suggestions or anything that we should think about that you haven't shared with us yet?
I have one suggestion. On your first slide, if you could move Ron Eberhardt to the Olivehurst representative, since he's my neighbor. And,
yes, that's right. Gosh, okay.
And while we're talking about that one slide, there's another thing on that slide that I would suggest or recommend be corrected. District 3 is Olivehurst. District 4 is Plumas Lake and Wheatland.
So we're making a note now. Thank you.
Say that again, Gary, please.
So District 3 is Olivehurst. At one point, it was Plumas Lake and Olivehurst, but for quite a while, it's been redistricted. Back in 2010, I think, is when that change happened.
Oh my.
And so it's Plumas Lake and Wheatland are in District 4 now.
Thank you, Sam. Okay, well, we'll let you get to someone else.
And go ahead. Do you have additional?
Good idea.
I'm not sure which one's vacant then. District 4 is not vacant, I know that, although it's about to be.
So
Is that all?
thank you for the resolution. Well, we still have this proclamation.
And I also had a couple other comments before we move on, if that's all right. I'll try to be quick. I know we have a full agenda. So just wanted to thank you both for the great presentation, so many amazing things that you're doing. And I really like how you're trying to get the word about Yuba County history out in a bunch of very different ways, in print, in an app, for there about what an incredible amount of history we have. And it was clear from the list, you guys are doing tons of great stuff. I know Supervisor Fuhrer and I both had an opportunity to attend the mine tour this year, and it was great. We didn't, you know, unfortunately the mine's full of water. We didn't get to go in it, but we got to learn a lot about it and see some great pictures and hear some great presentations. And so I know that was greatly appreciated.
Maybe you could get John with the water agency to drain the mine for us, so we could take a tour.
And two other things. One, on the list of historical sites, I would love to have a historical site marker for Plumas Landing.
Oh, okay.
So if you could look into that, and I know it's kind of near Star Bend, out near that area, and so it'd be great to have a historical marker there. I know Plumas Lake is often thought of as a really new thing, but it's really been around a really long time, back to the 1800s, and this local school district dates all the way back to the 1800s as well. And so
when there was actually a lake at Plumas.
And when there was a lake there too. So I mean, that might be another historical marker, as an actual marker for the lake too.
Wow, I got his name. Thank you.
Yeah,
That's a great suggestion.
In that case, I would like an olive tree. And maybe we could do another bronze statue olive tree. I don't know, but I want, if he's getting something, I want something.
All right.
Well, we do have an entire book on the history of Olivehurst that talks about the hill with the olive tree. So I'll get you a copy of that. It's out of print now, but I can make you a copy.
So, Sue, Gary's going to actually still do the proclamation.
Okay.
And if you can take a tour.
Yeah, so I'll read it first and then I'll bring it down. So it's a certificate of recognition presented to Patricia Camarina in appreciation and recognition for 9 years of dedicated volunteer service to the Yuba County Historical Resources Commission. And it's signed by Sue and myself. So Pat has been the representative for the 4th District since I've been supervisor and even before that. And so I certainly appreciate her dedication to history. I had the opportunity a few months ago to volunteer with her at the Wheatland History Museum one day, and we had a great time, and it was good to spend some time with her and just really absorb some of her appreciation of local history.
The reason she is retiring, I can share with the public while you walk down, Gary, is that out in Wheatland, of course, you know, the Donner Party rescue site at Johnson's Rancho, we're actually working with Trails West, and that's going to become a more public thing. And so she's also the curator of the museum out there and very active in her. She doesn't have any more time to be on 4 more commissions, so she's resigning from some. Thank you, Gary. All these things.
Businesses on that,
Or on the map?
that are on that map,
That'd be
because he grew up logging. I know you guys had something on Woodleaf. Otto told me stories, you know, I've been friends with him for many, many years. I was, when he was younger, camping up there and logging all summer, and
Yeah,
so
we'd love to record his history. We do that too.
So
Thank you,
I'll
John.
introduce you before we leave.
So, thank you very much. It's all about the history. Speaking of history and 100th birthday, we're going to juggle this this agenda just slightly, and we're going to go ahead and recognize John Dockrich for his 100th birthday, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Supervisor Messick.
Ted Langdell in the Yuba-Sutter.live control room, and we can tell you that pinging noise you're having to put up with is from the Yuba County feed. We have made the staff aware of the problem. I don't know what they're going to be able to do about it. We realize it's annoying, and I'm having to listen to it as well. So we'll hope it goes away soon.
100 on Thursday, so long part of history in Yuba County and Hallwood area. So, am I read this proclamation, Johnny. They keep putting the print smaller and smaller every year for me. Bear with me. Celebrating 100th birthday of John Yocklich II. Whereas John W. Yocklich II was born in Crested Butte, Colorado on November 14th, 1924. When John was 9 years old, his family had to move to Marysville, California. His father had to leave the coal mines of Colorado due to serious leg injury. And whereas John attended Marysville High School, where he played basketball, baseball, and learned boxing from his Uncle Joe, which led him to many competitions during this time. John worked at the National Ice Company during the summer and had a paper route after school to help with his family's finances. He graduated Marysville High School in 1942. And whereas John entered the Marine Corps on April 3rd, 1943, and attended aviation school in Memphis, Tennessee, becoming an aircraft mechanic for the Scout Bomber Douglas SBD Dauntless, a dive bomber. After returning to Marysville, he attended Yuba College, where he entered in the forestry program and also continued to play basketball and for the school. John received various achievements and honors. He received the Quilt of Valor from the Veterans Administration for his recognition as a World War II veteran, Marine, and various events. And whereas John served in numerous boards, including the Cordova Elementary School Board, Nazarene Church Board of Hallwood, Production Credit Association Board, King Beach Advisory Board, Beach Association Delegate, and the Yuba County Flood Control. And whereas John was the 4-H leader at the Hallwood Club for over 20 years, as well as sports director for the Hallwood Nazarene Church, manager of the Peach League baseball team. He has been recognized for his commitment and service as a 4-H leader and community leader for more than 25 years. And whereas in 1946, John married Grace Davis and settled onto 22 acres along the Yuba River, where they became peach farmers, where he was recognized as the #1 grower for quality in the district. John and Grace built a block house along the river that still stands today. They have 3 children, 7 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. In 2006, Grace passed away, and John later married Shirley Loma, a lifelong family friend. And whereas John spends this time and is an avid hunter of deer and elk, and has hosted a monthly potluck at his house for over 20 years, where there is singing, dancing, prayer, and praise. John has lived his life as an example of being a kind man and sharing fruit from his crops to family, friends, and showing leadership to others and never drinking or smoking. Now, therefore, the Yuba County Board of Supervisors commends John Yocklich II for a lifetime of hard work and service, and recognizes these accomplishments on November 14th, 2024, his 100th birthday. Yeah. Can we move right over into the
By the flag, Gavin.
Like I said, today's a little fluid. So after this short break, we have two more presentations. Health and Human Services and Johnny Burke coming up shortly.
We are together. This is our illusion of we are all together. It's not an illusion. Very cool.
But that was great for the Cold War 80s. I'm Iron Marines. They're tough people. They're probably tougher than Navy SEALs.
They are definitely. That's amazing.
I'm Iron Man. Years old. That's like one time. Like, I'm a teenager. He's old. He's a grandfather. I'm young. I couldn't secure myself. I saw him because I'm like behind me, over me. So I admire that. He's a ranker guy, and he did forestry. I admire that guy. Yeah, I did. I'm a teenager. Yeah. He's true adult. I'm still a teenager. A local part, I like a teenager too. I'm like, please do that. I'm going to that. Go to that. He's a more commander. Yeah, I'm 26 years old.
Not quite sure what the delay is. Ted Langdell, we're here in the Yuba-Sutter.live control room as the Yuba County Supervisors meeting continues here. There is a good bit on the agenda, and one thing that we're waiting for is for the agenda item relating to Hotel Marysville demolition funds to come up. So stay tuned for that. The pinging noise that you've been having to put up with is coming from the Yuba County feed. We have made staff aware of that, at least through one of the sitting supervisors via social media messaging, and hopefully somebody will be able to figure out where the pinging is coming from and get rid of that noise, because it is something that we're all having to put up with here. While they are in a delayed mode, we're going to take a moment here and let you hear from the party that's responsible for bringing you all of these live feeds from government meetings. Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com. And we're back with Yuba County Supervisors meeting. One of the things that we want to let you know about, there's quite a lot going on here in the different meetings that we'll be presenting today, and we'll give you a look at what those are. Right now we have the Yuba County Supervisors meeting that's going on from 9 o'clock until whenever they're done. 3 o'clock we have the Sutter County Supervisors regular meeting. At 4 o'clock there's a Marysville City Council special meeting. At 5:30, what could be a fairly lengthy Marysville Unified School Trustees regular meeting. And then at 7 o'clock, a Yuba City Unified School District Trustees regular meeting. So all of these are going on today. You'll be able to watch them right here on Yuba-Sutter.live, presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage. So we're waiting. I think they're congratulating John Yaklich on his 100th birthday, but there are also several other things that they have on the agenda here. Kind of give you an idea of what's going on at some of the meetings here. Later on, the Yuba County Supervisors have a $250,000 grant request from the city that would help demolish the top floor of the fire-ravaged hotel, which is the most unstable part, according to an engineer's report, and is the major cause of the highway blockage between 4th and 5th Street. Caltrans has the road blocked off in the event that building, the top of the building fell over onto the roadway and caused injury, damage, death, something like that. That's why the road's blocked off. County is noting the traffic problems that delay emergency responses, increase travel costs and time for drivers, and create negative economic effects. The city estimates it would cost $700,000 to $840,000 to remove the top floor. The county grant document mentions invoicing the Yuba Water Agency and the county, quote, in equal amounts, which could mean that Yuba Water is also being asked for $250,000. The Appeal Democrat noted in a Sunday social media post that the city council directed city manager Jim Schad on Tuesday, this was last week, to secure financing and contracts for work on the Hotel Marysville structure, such that normal traffic patterns can be restored within a reasonably short period of time. And the city manager indicated the city was still in discussions with the property owner, the Feather River Plaza, over the outcome of the 5-story hotel, which, as you may recall, was gutted by fire back on June 15th. There are some other changes going on that you'll see happening at meetings tonight in Marysville. Marysville seeking a new finance director. Sutter County is poised to appoint a new county assessor today. Sutter County Sheriff will be seeking replacements for a division commander, patrol lieutenant, and correctional lieutenant, who are all retiring and are going to be recipients of gold awards for their service. Marysville Unified Schools Director of College and Careers is retiring, and in sports, Marysville is about to get a new baseball team. I'll tell you a little bit about that. Marysville's finance director has resigned as of October, and they are about to begin recruitment for her replacement, but they need to create a new job classification for a finance director that would replace one that doesn't match the title or the duties, and Marysville council members will be dealing with that on their meeting tonight. The current finance director, Jennifer Stasinski, has worked for Marysville since June of 2015, working her way up from a part-time finance personnel technician to senior accountant in 2017. She became the interim finance director in November of 2018, and that position was made permanent in July of 2019. And you may remember or recognize the name. She and her husband, Timothy, started the Bridge Coffee Company in 2016. They just closed that business this summer. They live in a restored 2-story brick house on 3rd Street that housed the roasting operation. And if I'm historically correct, it was the stable for the Marysville Fire Department horses that pulled the steam-powered pumps at one point in time, or the human-powered pumps. Jennifer has owned a tax and bookkeeping service up in Weaverville since 2002, and she still maintains that business and her federal enrolled agent status. So the finance director oversees the finance department and a large part of what happens within the city. And as I've watched what's been happening over a series of meetings over the last several years, she's done a very good job of presenting what happens with the city's budget and explaining things quite well with PowerPoints and the language that she uses. And I'm hoping that Marysville can find someone who is equally as good at the job of managing the city's money as well as explaining what's going on with it. Especially since the Measure G tax measure appears to have been passed by voters by quite a large margin. And that funding is going to help Marysville City keep itself going. On the same Marysville City Council agenda, special meeting tonight, baseball. The YOLO High Wheelers professional baseball team wants to relocate from Davis to Marysville's Bryant Field. This 3-year deal is proposed. The High Wheelers won the 2024 Pioneer League Championship this summer, playing against 11 other teams in California, Utah, Idaho, and Montana. It's a new team with an inaugural season record of 58 wins, 44 losses. The Pioneer League itself dates back to 1939 and is a Major League Baseball partner league. If the city approves the deal, the team would become the Yuba-Sutter High Wheelers, replacing the Pecos League Marysville Drakes, which folded this summer after the season ended. Low attendance was one reason. The High Wheelers would be what are being described as a year-round operation, according to the council agenda document. It says the team is committed to being an active part of the Yuba-Sutter community, working with local businesses on concessions, providing free community activities, and organizing youth baseball workshops. Increased economic activity is a benefit that the city cites. It says the new team will contribute around $67,200 annually in in-kind services and will assume responsibility for field maintenance, facility repairs, and event security. Meantime, the city will reimburse the team up to $250,000 from the general fund for agreed-on capital improvements. None of those improvements are mentioned in the use document, so I guess we'll find out what those capital improvements may be. Just up B Street from Bryant Field at the Marysville Joint Unified School District office, Jamie Larson is retiring from the Director of Career and College post that she's held. That's effective December 30th. She's 53. Nothing new to report on what's happening on the superintendent's position. Interim Superintendent Roxanne Brown has been visiting schools and attending school board meetings, including special board meetings involving discussions of Superintendent Falazrani, who was granted medical leave by trustees. That happened after several contentious regular board meetings where Azrani's policies, practices, and leadership were challenged, and the chair of the Yuba County Republican Central Committee called on Azrani to resign. Looks like the Board of Supervisors meeting is back in operation here, so we'll bring you some more news a little later. And that pinging is from the Yuba County feed. Nothing we can do about that.
Okay, great. I think I have everything.
Sure. Thank you and happy birthday.
Awesome.
Johnny Burke.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, supervisors. Thank you for the opportunity to come and spend a few minutes just presenting on some updates and stats and things going on. Just can't tell you how much I appreciate the partnership with Yuba County. When I stand here representing the Sutter Yuba Homeless Consortium, although I'm the executive director, the consortium really is all of the different agencies and partners and organizations that are working together to solve homelessness in our community and move folks from homelessness to housed. And so very, very excited to always be working with Yuba County. Yuba County has very much been a pioneer in the field of innovative ideas. The first one to come up with a special emergency shelter with 14 Ford back almost 10 years ago. We've collaborated with you all on HAP 2 funding for a housing project called Turpin Street that Habitat for Humanity is doing. We've collaborated on HAP 3 funding for a variety of different projects that are going on, and had a tremendous amount of help during our local homeless action plan forming. And those are just a few of the things. So I just really wanted to mention that I really appreciate the opportunity to come here. We really do look at it as a partnership because it's not just us doing the work, not just you doing the work, it's all of us together. So I am here today because it is Homelessness Awareness Month, and so have the opportunity to go and visit most of the councils and boards to be able to talk about some of the different things going on. I really encourage you, if you're not following our Facebook page on social media, to follow that. We're trying to share different success stories, things that are going on, different events happening that have to do with working on homelessness. And so this month we try and put a little more of a focus on that so folks can see what's going on and hear different things. I'll be on the radio stations with some folks in the next couple of weeks as well, and just really trying to let folks know about the great work that's being done in our area, because a lot of times folks don't realize they drive up and down Clusa Highway, or they go down D Street or whatever the case, and they say, boy, we still have a homeless issue. And it's like, yeah, it's true, but there's an amazing amount of things being done by our partners. So that's what this month is for us, is National Homelessness Awareness Month. And I wanted to share some slides. And by the way, I was very impressed that last week at our homelessness or Summit on Ending Homelessness to have 4 out of 5 Yuba County supervisors there present. I'm not looking at Messick right now. No, that was just fantastic to have you all there. And John, I know you're busy, but it was just great to see the support there to hear about it. And so some of these stats are some of the things I shared there. So that's probably mostly for folks that might be tuning in or here present that they haven't heard. But one of the things that I shared at that summit was that homelessness has been growing in our area for the last couple of years. With some big jumps, notably in the last, from 2021 to 2023, we've seen a jump of folks accessing coordinated entry. So the numbers on the slides in front of you there are a different way of us looking at numbers. So traditionally, if you go back 15 years to current, we've always used our point in time count numbers that we obtain every 2 years when we go out and do a survey with everyone who's either sheltered or unsheltered and experiencing homelessness. And those have been our point of reference for many years as far as how many folks are homeless in our area. But over the last several years, as our homeless management information system has grown and our collaboration with partners and being able to use that system and getting coordinated entry tied in with all of the different partners, we have a tremendous amount of data of folks that are experiencing homelessness on an annual basis, not just on one day. So we're stuck doing point in time, and we'll talk about that in a couple minutes, doing every couple of years because HUD requires that. And it is good to look at historically year over year those numbers. But what we found more important or more valuable, I should say, is our numbers that are in our homeless management information system. We share those with the state of California. They have a program called HDIS, which is Homeless Data Integration System. And so we upload all of our numbers and data to them, and they filter it and they send it back down and really can show us what's happening in our area. And so these numbers are provided to us by the state. It's what we call our system performance measures. And in calendar year 2021, and these are by county numbers, not just Yuba County, by the way, we had 2,677 people in that calendar year who were experiencing homelessness for at least one day that accessed services. And then the next year, we saw that jump to 3,224, and last year, 3,609. We really don't know how this year is going to shake out, but we're probably in the similar numbers. We'll find out after all our data is processed at the end of the year. But new to homelessness for the first time has gone up as well. There was a big jump from 2020 to 2021, but since 2021, we've seen that number go from 1,400 to 1,600 to 1,650. And we expect that number to possibly rise again this year. And like I said, we'll know at the end of the year. But as we look at numbers, trying to figure out how do we help people, these are massive numbers for us compared to what we used to look at with point in time, where we were talking about 1,000 people were homeless in our area at any given time, not really factoring in that, well, there's throughout the course of the year, there's many more people that experience homelessness. I often parallel it to being at the ocean and watching the waves roll in. You constantly have water rolling in and out when you look at the ocean. When it comes to homelessness, you constantly have folks that are entering into homelessness and folks that are exiting out into housing. And so those are the two primary areas that we need to focus on, is continuing to expand more affordable housing options, and then prevention, trying to close that door to homelessness for the first time. We would like to see this number decrease. If we can get this new to homelessness number to start trending in a lower number, we can start to see our overall numbers start to reduce. One thing I do like to mention is the average length of time that a person remains homeless was 96 2 years ago, went up to 111 in 2022, dropped a little bit in 2023. That's a number we're also going to continue to watch, that we want to see drop lower. That'll show us that we're helping people out in a faster fashion, moving them, if they do hit the streets, to move them into housing quicker. Some other numbers about intakes at the coordinated entry site, and this is important to realize, is that I don't come with a whole bunch of like fantastic news. I'm not like, hey guys, we're down 50%. I wish I could say that. That was my goal when I got hired 4 years ago, is that in a 10-year time we would be down 50% in homelessness, and we've increased in that time. So we're continuing to work on it. And so it's important to know where we're at. And it looks like this year we're probably not going to go down, because intakes have continued to grow, especially on the Yuba County side. So last calendar year, 2023, the total number of intakes that were performed, whether it be somebody who was first-time homeless or returning to homeless, was 1,497. Year to date, through the end of October, we were already at 1,439 for Life Building Center in Yuba County. And so we project that number to be about 1,727. So it looks like our numbers on this side of the river have gone up in this last year. We'll find out when everything shakes down. On the Sutter County side, they've gone down a little bit. Prevention intakes have also increased on both sides of the river, which tells us more people are reaching out before becoming homeless, because more people are becoming homeless for the first time. So we're hopeful that, in a way, those prevention intakes will grow, and that we can help people through prevention funding so that they don't become homeless. So the fact that prevention numbers have gone up, prevention intakes, is not necessarily a bad thing. It's hopefully that we're better connecting with people and being able to help them out before they actually become homeless. And so we have a lot of prevention funds for the first time in several years. It's something that we didn't focus on years ago. We always focused on affordable housing and the coordinated entry system, day services, and emergency shelter and transitional housing. Didn't really look too much into putting money into prevention, but now we're starting to focus more on that. When we did our local homeless action plan last year, we realized this is a big need, is that we need to try and close this door to folks becoming homeless. So as we increase our funding availability for prevention, hopefully we can reach out and connect with people before they actually become homeless. So we'll continue to watch that. The numbers have been up a little bit this year, not huge numbers, but we want those to increase, and we want to help people before they become homeless. And all that work, by the way, is done at the coordinated entry sites. Those referrals go through Life Building Center here in Marysville, just a few blocks away on F Street, and then Hands of Hope on Spiva and Sutter County. And so both sides of the river use the same mirrored approach to doing those intakes and referring people to the services and the different agencies that have the funding to be able to help them out. I wanted to just show you a quick shot of a regional homeless update. I know it's not probably super visible to you, but I just want to highlight a couple things. This is a report that we share monthly at our monthly stakeholder meeting, which we're having one this Thursday at 9:45 a.m. via Zoom. Supervisor Fuhrer is always there, always can count on him being there. Supervisor Blaser is there very often too, and if the rest of you are available, sure would appreciate you. It's great to hear fluid things that are happening. And this Thursday, we're going to have a presentation by Sutter Yuba Behavioral Health to talk about Proposition 1 and the BHSA funding. A lot of you saw that presentation at the summit, but they're going to expand on it a little bit more, so that's going to be happening this Thursday at our stakeholder meeting. But we show this report, and this report is primarily based on folks that are homeless for the first time, new clients into the coordinated entry system in a month's time. And so we track the number of new clients, and we track the total number of clients coming into the coordinated entry system, because if someone has not touched services for over 6 months, they would be exited out of the system. Or let's say they got housed, or they moved to a different area, they got exited out of the system for some reason. If they come back, they're re-entered into the system, but they're not considered a new client. They're just back into the system. So in the upper left-hand corner, we have the total number of clients that have entered coordinated entry in that particular calendar month. So for this one, it's October 2024. So you can see the Yuba is the blue number. 128 people entered into coordinated entry system in October 2024. Of those, 87 were brand new clients. So this has been pretty consistent over the years that we've seen. There's people constantly entering into the system every month. And we track what is the most popular or the most common reasons that folks become homeless. And that's in the upper right-hand corner. Because when the survey is done, when an intake's done at coordinated entry, whether it be at Life Building Center or Hands of Hope on Spiva, or out in the field by either the eye care team or the heart team or the street nurse team or through Freed, there's a few different folks that do coordinated entry out in the field to be able to get people in and start doing referrals. We have a bunch of different questions say, please mark which one of these led to you becoming homeless. And typically, if you look historically, they're usually fiscal reasons that people became homeless. Usually number one is unable to pay rent or mortgage, which is really the most basic reason I became homeless. I couldn't pay my rent, and so I got kicked out. It's usually followed up by loss of job or unemployment, and then eviction and foreclosure. Those three things, those three categories usually have been our top three over time. But we've seen a change over the last year where some different I guess you could say categories or reasons for people becoming homeless have started to pop into our top three. They've always been there, but all of a sudden they're starting to grow. So for October, of those 143 new clients, the number one reason that people cited for becoming homeless, or at least one of the contributing factors, was breakup or divorce. And frankly, from a prevention standpoint, we've got to scratch our head on that. How do we address that? How do we address relationships and keep folks from having marital or relationship problems that would lead to homelessness? That's a tough one for us to really address. Number two is loss of job or unemployment. So that's something that we see time over time in our top three, and that's why we partner with One Stop, both Yuba One Stop and Sutter One Stop, to provide classes at coordinated entry and try and get folks hooked up to different trainings and job programs so that they can get gainful employment and become housed. And then number three, this month was folks saying that substance use contributed to them becoming homeless. So this is, I think, the second time in the last 12 months that substance use has topped in the last three. We always have a high number. As a matter of fact, for this month, 27% of the folks said that they had a substance use issue that were new. We always have right around 30-something% of folks that say that there's a substance use issue that they deal with. But rarely has it popped into our top three, but all of a sudden in the last year, a couple times that's popped in. So these are things to watch because it tells us that we need to continue to put funding into different substance use disorder treatments, programs, and support those to try and help people if that is their barrier and what is causing them to become unhoused. As you move down the report, there's a lot of information there. Just highlight a couple things. That center section on the left-hand side for our self-reported survey results. So when the folks do the survey, they mark a variety of conditions that they might be experiencing. Behavioral health, 50% of the new folks coming in self-reported that, yes, I have a behavioral health or a mental health issue. And that number's been hovering right around 50% for several months now. And so that really emphasizes the need for more behavioral health services and access for folks for that. And then there's a variety of other things there, and you can check this out. We do send this report out when we send out our stakeholder packet monthly. So if you're not on our stakeholder email list, I would love to get you on there and so that you get this information. The last thing I would like to highlight at the bottom, let's see, oops, that's not what I want. Probably hard to see, but at the bottom we have folks connected to shelters, and the shelters in Yuba County are doing a great job of staying full and getting folks sheltered. That's something we look at is because beds are not very useful if they're just sitting there being unused. But at the end of the month in October, 14 Ford was at 96% capacity, so they basically only had one bed available. The Life Building Center was at 124% capacity, and you're like, how do you do 124% capacity? Well, it's when you have your fixed beds and then you feel so compassionate for some folks that are on the street that you set up additional cots on the bottom floor to let people stay. And Rick Milholland and his staff at Hands of Hope that run Life Building Center often have folks in cots on the bottom floor because it's folks that are either needing a couple nights or maybe they have some disabilities, maybe they can't get upstairs in the beds, whatever the case may be. So, and then the Twin Cities Rescue Mission Shelter, I can't see on my screen, but they're right around 100%. It's 90-something% usually, and sometimes they're over capacity as well. But and then the depot's numbers are a little low. And when you look at that for Salvation Army, why aren't those beds being filled? It's because of the type of beds they have at the depot. They're primarily a family resource shelter, so they'll have family rooms that might have 8 beds in them. And if they have a family that only has 6 individuals in the family, you've got 2 open beds, but you don't throw 2 other family members in a family room with folks. So it's rare for us to be able to have the depot at 100%. It's not meaning that they're not sheltering people. It's just because of the dynamic of how they do their family structure, which is a good thing. The last thing that I'd just like to chat about today before I get rolling and field any questions from y'all is that we are going to do our annual or biannual point in time count in January. And even though I'm not a big fan of point in time count numbers, I'm really not, because I love these numbers that we have from our coordinated entry that we work with the state on and stuff that show our overall breadth of what we're doing in the course of the year. It's still very important to try and do our best point in time count as possible, because it's a chance to go out there and meet people face to face that are not coordinated entry staff. So all these intakes are done Life Building Center and Hands of Hope and by outreach teams, by caseworkers and intake workers who are used to sitting down with people and talking to them every day. But point in time count is a chance for all of us to get out and really touch the problem, if you will, and meet people and find out their story and do an intake with them to hear about what's going on. And I think it's really eye-opening for a lot of us. And so when we did our last point in time count in 2023, we had over 100 volunteers. My goal for this year is to have over 200 volunteers. I'd love to see every single elected official, every single person working in government and outside of government to be able to help out in this if they're available during one of our times. Because I've never met somebody yet who came and did one of our point in time counts and came back and said, I'm never doing that again. That was terrible. What I do hear is people going, that was amazing. Like, I didn't know. I sat and talked to this person for 15 minutes and I heard their story, and I didn't know you could become homeless this way. And I didn't know that so many people were just one paycheck away. And I didn't know that just one accident or lack of family structure, or whatever the case may be, the stories you get to hear by meeting people, it's tremendous. And so it's a great opportunity. And it's pretty easy too. We give you a goodie bag to walk up to people, so you don't walk up just like a straight up creeper going, hey, can I talk to you? You know, you get to walk up and say, hey, I have something for you. I have a bag that's got some things that are probably going to be valuable to you, a pair of socks, a knit hat, some water, some snacks, some things like that, some hygiene things. I'd like to give that to you in exchange for getting some information so that we can have better information for our area to bring more resources in to help folks in your situation that are homeless to work toward housing. And so that's going to be coming up the last weekend of January, and we're going to do similar to what we did in 2023 in that we're going to go out several different days. Housing and Urban Development, HUD, they allow different methodologies for connecting your point in time count with your statistics. They want to know an exact point in time. So our exact point in time is going to be Sunday, January 26th. That is the day we are going to ask people, okay, where did you stay on the night of Sunday, January 26th? And if they say, I was out on the street, I was in a shelter, I was fleeing domestic violence, they are going to be considered homeless as far as HUD standards. If they tell us I stayed in a hotel last night that I paid for with my own dollars, they will not be considered HUD homeless, but we'll still do a survey and they will fall into what we call our precariously housed count, which is still homeless folks, but just doesn't fall into HUD definition. So we will be asking people, where did you stay on this night? And we'll be going out Monday the 27th here in Marysville and in Yuba City. We'll be having teams that will crisscross the city all day long doing surveys. Then on Tuesday the 28th, we will have a group that will go out in Sutter County and we'll do all the areas outside of Yuba City. And then in the afternoon, they will crisscross back across the city in Yuba City. And then Wednesday the 29th, we will be here in Yuba County doing all the areas outside of Marysville, and then we'll have groups that will come back and crisscross across Marysville. Then the last 2 days of the week, we will attempt to call every single person that's on our by name list through coordinated entry. So we will run the by name list, which right now is about 1,600 folks, and we will have a team of folks that call up and hopefully they pick up the phone. I will tell you that probably 50% of those phone numbers will no longer be good or valid. Numbers change and cell phones change hands on the street very quickly. But we will call folks and say, hey, my name is Johnny Burke. I'm with the Center Yuba Homeless Consortium. I'm wondering, are you still experiencing homelessness? If the person says yes, I'll say, okay, great. Have you done a survey with anyone this week to find out where you stayed on Sunday, January 26th? And if they say no, then I say, great, can I do a quick survey with you over the phone, and we'll get that information from them there. It just means we couldn't find them during that week, but we can still do a survey over the phone. If they're no longer homeless, we're going to exit them out of our system and put where their placement is, so we'll update our numbers. And if they are, I've already done a survey, we'll say thank you for your time, really appreciate it, have a wonderful day. So if you are at all interested in going out and doing surveys either face-to-face or on the phone or helping us out with that, we could use as much help as possible, because many hands make light work, and it's a great opportunity to go and meet people and hear their stories. And there's nothing that says you have to go and just, be done with your survey in 2 minutes. Take some time with some folks to get to hear their story. And it's a conversation, really. It's not just let me check off these questions. It's like, let me hear your story. How did you become homeless? How long have you been homeless? What kind of things are you experiencing? And then you fill in the bubbles as you go. And you get to let people know that they count. We actually give them a sticker that says I count, to let them know that they are a resident of Yuba County and that they are valued and that we want to help them out in their current situation. So that's going to be happening the last week of January. We'll do some trainings in December and January. That's important to go to learn how to do that. So we'll be sending out this flyer via email in the next week or so for all of you who might be interested in being a part of that. And I would really encourage you to come out, even if you only come out for like an hour or something. It's still very valuable. So with that, that was a lot of me talking very fast, try and get stuff in. I know you have a big schedule, but if there's any questions or any comments, I'd love to field those now, but I'm also available anytime. You can call me anytime. I know several of you supervisors have, and I love it. I love getting calls and knowing the collaboration that my phone is always on.
Through the chair, you might put a phone number on that flyer, because I'm an old-fashioned guy and I don't do QR codes and I don't do links. And if you don't have a phone, but on a brighter note, there's been a number of homeless programs that have gone on in Southern California, which have been seeing pretty good results in the reduction of homeless. And one that was up in the news is Redondo Beach, and they have a homeless court that allows them to get them away from basic bad environments and give them the help, the mental health help that they need, and start them on a course that will correct their behavioral problems, which until you do that, it's like Sacramento. Sacramento's homeless units are somewhere around $300,000 a piece, everybody says no affordable housing. Well, back in the 70s and 80s, I lived in Orville, worked in Sacramento, because there are affordable housing out there. It's just not where they want it. And, the traveling, the inflation, all the gas prices going up, trap them in an endless spiral around the drain. But Redondo Beach seems to have a lot of. Have you ever heard of the program they have down there, Homeless Court?
No, we had a homeless court here that started up and got shut down when COVID came, and there was some mild success with folks there, and there's been some discussions. The challenge with the homeless court concept, where you bring folks in that have been, maybe they've received citations for breaking an ordinance and maybe not so much a crime or maybe a low-grade misdemeanor, is that it's still a voluntary type thing. Well, and so there's just not a lot of...
I printed the article off, and it's been a successful program, so I suggest that they take a real long look at it, because whatever we're doing now isn't working. And another thing is that a lot of them need mental health help, and we're a little short on having mental health help for the homeless. What are we doing about that, by any chance?
Well, we're always looking for funding sources to expand Sutter Yuba behavioral health. One of the things that we're looking forward to that's going to be happening, should be hitting the streets in the next couple months, is there's going to be some new outreach teams that go out to help folks that are not law enforcement based. So if there's a call for service where someone's having a mental health crisis, but actually whether they're housed or unhoused, as long as there's not violence or a weapon involved, these teams that are going to be running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, will go out to get people connected to behavioral health services. So we should be seeing some difference in that once those programs start to run.
Well, I sent copies of the Redondo Beach and other communities that have tried the homeless court, and every one of the supervisors, and I would suggest we look at that, because we're 36 past, and there's a reason for it. A lot of the people are put into, in Sacramento, I got a tour of 5 different locations where they're putting people into homes that are $300,000 in gated communities in some cases. And they plan on $1 million a year just in maintenance on those things. So it's kind of, without the mental health aspect of that, you're kind of got a 3-sided box. So, anyhow, all right, that's my opinion.
All right, I'll check that out, Supervisor Vasquez. Vasquez and see what's going on in Redondo Beach, see if there's anyone replying. We'll add a phone number on there. So can I then put you down for being on our point in time count in January?
Sure.
All right.
As long as there's a phone number, there ain't.
All right, we'll get that
You
on.
know, it's just, I'm an old guy. I don't change habits. QR code, forget it.
Do we have any other board comments or questions?
So the homeless summit that we attended was well represented in Yuba County. We had Health and Human Services there. We had supervisors there. We had a Marysville City Councilman there. Thank you, Stuart, for being the most proactive politician in the area. I appreciate that. And then I don't think we had Sutter County supervisors or Yuba City Councilman, but you know, that's a side issue. So it was nice to see Yuba County invested and involved. One of the things that we do have coming in down the pipe is more affordable housing units being built. Is there 20 units, 100 units? What is the number of units that we're going to be adding to our inventory for this particular issue?
So over the next several years, we should be seeing several hundred units coming available, both in Yuba and Sutter County. So probably, I don't have exact timelines for you, but you know, we should see the Innovation Housing, Turpin Street. That's going to be a 12-unit project that should be opening up within the next year. That's a smaller project, but there's going to be some other larger ones, hopefully in Linda, through Habitat and Humanity. Regional Housing has some big projects, especially Richland Village over in Sutter County, but they're still working on their financing to really cinch that all up. So that's kind of an up in the air. When will that happen? Although Habitat for Humanity is also building something called Merriment Village over in, actually they've got Merriment Village, they've got Tranquility Harbor. They got a lot of different projects going on. And so Habitat's first project, Merriment Village, is going to be in Yuba City. That's 79 units of the first phase. They should be breaking ground soon, and then we'll see how quick that gets built. And they're already working on trying to arrange funding for the second and third phases to make that over 200 units when that's completed over on Walton Avenue. And then I'm trying to remember Tranquility Harbor, which is going to be senior housing. I want to say that that's going to be around 16 to 20 units, but I can't remember.
And then the facility next to the old hospital where the church was, I believe, is going to be adding some beds as well.
Yes, so that's that will be called Life Advancement Center. I believe that's all finalized. I think this is a public record type stuff now, but the understanding is that Habitat for Humanity has purchased that, the old First Baptist Church on Plumas Street, and they are working with Yuba City to kind of finalize details and what it'll look like, but the plan is to move Hands of Hope, that's currently located on Spive Avenue in Yuba City, over to that location so that there's more expanded day centers, more room for classes, more room for everything there, as well as having a 50-bed shelter and up to 50 beds of transitional housing and medical recuperative care housing as well. So that's going to be a big opportunity for some things to be happening. So.
And then we also have Minor Hope that's in process.
So Project Hope Minor is not housing. It's medical recuperative beds that's going to be on Garden Highway. So, and I'm not from Adventist, so I can't speak from them totally, and things have changed different times with the project, but Project Hope Major eventually will be the old Fremont Hospital on Plumas Street in Yuba City. But in the meantime, as they're trying to arrange the funding, which is going to be tens of millions of dollars to do that facility, they've started Project Hope Minor out on Garden Highway, or will be starting it very shortly, where they will be having medical recuperative beds and some other transitional housing type beds. The benefit of that folks don't realize a lot of times, if you've ever gone to the hospital and you spend a lot of time in the ER waiting to get into the ER and then waiting to get into a room, the reason for that a lot of times is because the rooms are taken up by folks that quite frankly are not sick enough for the hospital, but they're like too sick to be out on the street. And that's where medical recuperative housing comes in, where you have a facility where folks that are in that kind of mid-level, they get moved off-site where they have care, but not a high-level care, which opens up the higher level of care beds to be able to move the process in the hospital quicker from emergency room into an actual room and whatnot. So
the two things that would really help the most would be more beds and more mental health.
I think I would agree with that, yeah.
And so if we combined both mental health and beds in, let's say, a facility funded by Home Key Plus, that would be the optimum solution.
I would love to see that. You and I talked about this, and I'm very interested to find out what it would take to do that, and if Home Key Plus funding through the state would be eligible for that. It might be. I don't know yet. So that's. But I certainly wouldn't be opposed to that if we had our own mental health facility here, separate from Sutter Yuba Behavioral Health, that was more intensive in person rather than sending folks to nap in different places like that. I think that would be a big benefit.
Awesome. So, John, what I've noticed in the past was the demand for affordable housing was 10 times the supply. I don't know if that's improving, but that's a tough number to hear.
Yeah, it really is. We can't build them fast enough. And the challenge with affordable housing is it's just not affordable to build affordable housing. It really isn't. It costs more than if you were to do market rate housing. And so, and there's always challenges. There's always pushback in different areas and stuff, even though when you look at the most modern affordable housing things that have been built, they're beautiful. They look like affordable housing, if you will. They don't look like the projects you think of from Michigan and stuff from the 60s where you just have these what looks like prisons. They're not like that at all. They really do enhance the neighborhood and stuff. But a lot of times folks are really resistant because they think affordable housing means they're going to be bringing a certain element to their neighborhood, which has not been proven to be the case in our area for sure. But yeah, the demand is huge. I would be willing to guess that the Merriman Village project, the 79 units that Habitat for Humanity is doing over in Yuba City, by the time they open, I would be surprised if they have any less than 500 applications.
Yeah,
that would be
it's been about 10 to 1.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Through the chair,
anybody else?
Affordable housing.
So affordable housing is housing that's structured around your income level. So typically,
amount, how much of the rent is subsidized by?
What you end up paying, the client ends up paying is typically 30% of whatever their income is, with a cap. And so, for instance, probably one of the closest affordable housing setups from here, Habitat for Humanity, has Prosperity Village over in, I think it's probably in your district, Andy, there in Linda, right next to Walmart. And so the folks there, no one there pays more than like $400 a month. They'll pay 30% of whatever their income level is. So, you know, and everybody there has some sort of fixed income, whether it be Social Security, SSDI, some sort of settlement, retirement of their own, whatever the case may be.
Okay. Anybody else? Are we good?
Yeah.
Thank you, Johnny.
All right, thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to come and present. I know it's a very busy day with a lot of stuff going on, and so, did you already stop sharing? You're on it. Okay, cool. Excellent. Thank you.
Health and Human Services.
Good morning, Chair and members of the board. My name is John Cordial. I'm the Assistant Director with Health and Human Services, and I'm here to present the quarterly project report for HHS for the first quarter of the fiscal year, July, August, and September 2024. I'm going to do the first section, and then as I near the end of the presentation, we've got a couple extra slides at the end. I'll invite Tatiana Pinston up, who is a Veterans Services representative with our department, and she's going to share a little bit about her role and some of the other partners that she works with in the veterans space. So getting started here with public assistance, there's Amarjeet at her standing desk in our newly remodeled cubicle area. There's 103 employees in the public assistance area. The first project that we wanted to highlight is the enrollment specialist at Advanced Rideout. HHS administers the Medi-Cal program, and Advanced Rideout is a hospital that provides medical services to patients. And in the past, there's never been any linkage or much of a linkage between the two of us. Many of the patients that are seen at Advanced Rideout either receive Medi-Cal as their primary insurance coverage, or they are potentially eligible to Medi-Cal. So we administer Medi-Cal at HHS, and Advanced Rideout sees patients, and if they need Medi-Cal coverage, they tell them to apply, and there's never been anyone to liaise between the two and help with what can be sometimes a complicated process. So now we have an enrollment specialist embedded over at Advanced Rideout, and we think it's been a pretty successful engagement. She provides a concierge service to any of the patients that come in to Advanced Rideout and need Medi-Cal coverage, or maybe they have Medi-Cal coverage and there's been some sort of hiccup or administrative issue with their coverage. So in this time when they're receiving medical care from Adventist Rideout, and they, you know, this administrative stuff is probably low on the list for them, she's able to help with getting people enrolled or smoothing out any issues that might exist with their ongoing coverage. And in the first 2 months that she was in place, she was able to assist 371 patients, and then we've got the full quote down here directly from one of the patients at Adventist Rideout. Having you as a resource saved us time and made the process much easier to access. The next project we wanted to spotlight is our collaboration with MJUSD or adult learning. These are all adult learners here, and we're helping to support 2 different programs with Marysville Joint Unified. One is the high school equivalency program, and then another is English as a second language for all of these learners here. And so as of the end of our statistics here, up to the date of this report, the program's been in place for a year, since September of 2023. Got 182 adults enrolled in the high school equivalency program, 77 enrolled in the ESL, English as a second language program. 45 of those adults have received high school diplomas, and 10 more will soon. They've completed all the work necessary to get that completed. And now we'll move on to public health. There's Dr. Liu and Keith from our communication engagement team. This was Keith actually welded the giant mechanical mosquito in the background for our Peachtree Fight the Bite campaign, or sorry, Peach Festival Fight the Bite campaign. Made the eyes light up and everything. Pretty cool project. In public health, one of the areas that we wanted to highlight today is the back to school vaccination project, and this is an interesting one. HHS is involved with conversations about school enrollment for different programs that we administer. And through working with our partners, primarily in the school district, we realized that at the beginning of the school year, there's at least there's a group of children that are not enrolled in school and are not attending school, and that lands on our radar, and of course the school knows about it. And in doing some more digging, working with our partners, we're able to figure out that these kids are ready to be enrolled and attend school, but they aren't able to, they're not eligible to, because they don't have their vaccinations up to date. So we decided to implement this back to school vaccination program with contracting with Peachtree Health. And you can see the chart off on the right-hand side delineates the different dates and the number of vaccinations that were provided, and the different types. And just in that group, just over those 3 dates, 81 different students were seen and 276 vaccines were administered. Now all of these kids are eligible to go to school because they've got their vaccinations up to date. So we thought this was actually a really good example of a project where we've worked with our community to help identify the need and then figured out how we can help meet that need. And here, I'm just going to do this one slide here. This is a slide on the Community Health Improvement Plan. And I know that we've presented that information to the board many times, but this is just sort of a touch point here to let everybody know that all of the stakeholder meetings and in-person presentations, that whole communication plan is still on track. All those milestones are being met. The first in-person annual review of the CHIP was completed on September 16th. And we do actually have a really nice video that our communication engagement team put together for the community that we planned on showing here, but I don't think my technology is working correctly, so perhaps we can share that in the future at a future update. Now for department updates, we've got 51 employees in the administrative and support area for the department. And I'll touch on a few of the highlight areas of outreach August and September. That's a pretty busy quarter for outreach. There's a whole litany. I've presented them in the past, but there's a whole long list of different events that HHS supported or hosted primarily or went out to. We're just going to show three here. The Peach Festival was a large event that HHS had a presence at. I personally handed out many mosquito wipes and fly swatters to support the Fight the Bite campaign. A lot of the other staff members at HHS volunteered, and we had a great turnout there. It was a very, very big event. You guys know the Peach Festival is a big event. Very hot event. Nothing that a glass of that peach iced tea couldn't cure, though. The next one is the Marysville Joint Unified School District Back to School Bash, which was a really good event as well, focusing on bicycle safety, immunization, hand washing, some of those skills right as kids are getting ready to go back to school after that lengthy summer break, and maybe some of those common safety skills and health skills may have atrophied a little bit. Try to get them back into that mindset when they're going to be back in school. And then I know I've presented in the past on a bicycle rodeo. We did that again this year. That's a super cool event. We do bicycle helmet fittings for kids, and there's an entire obstacle course set up for kids to go through on their little bicycles and learn the safety rules of the road, so they can either be using their bike to ride to school or using it recreationally when they're out amongst cars. We can make sure that they have all those safety skills, and we can help minimize the number of bicycle car traffic incidents in Yuba County. And at this point, I'd like to invite Tatiana Pinson up here.
Good morning, Chair and members of the board. My name is Tatiana Pinson. I'm a Veteran Service Representative for the Yuba-Sutter Veteran Service Office. The Yuba-Sutter Veteran Service team is dedicated to supporting the veteran community by offering advocacy and helping to secure benefits from the Department of Veteran Affairs. The Department of Veteran Affairs, commonly known as the VA, is the department of the federal government that is responsible with providing lifelong services to eligible military veterans. The Veterans Affairs consists of three main departments: the Veteran Health Administration, the Benefits Administration, and the National Cemetery Administration. There are multiple benefits and programs under each of these departments that can be applied for through the claims filing process. And these can include comprehensive health care, education, disability compensation, burial reimbursements, and housing assistance, just to name a few. And these programs are based on various criteria depending on the type of benefits requested, and we assist the veterans and their eligible dependents in determining those criteria for those benefits. As a Veteran Service Representative in the County Veteran Service Office, I am tasked with assisting veterans, dependents, and surviving spouses learn how to navigate the VA system and access those benefits provided by the Veteran Affairs, and to become a representative and advocate in this county or any county in the state of California. The state and the VA mandate extensive training and accreditation, which must be maintained through multiple training sessions throughout each year. It takes a minimum of 1 year to become capable of independent one-on-one client work. And during this time, our representatives will engage in client outreach to promote our services, handle reception and administrative duties, and observe appointments with senior representatives. Per the Association of County Veteran Services, our annual report, the Yuba County Veteran Service Office is consistently one of the top performing counties in the state per veteran population. Our new report puts us at about just under 11,000 residents, veteran residents. Our new monetary average award is $4,634 per claim for for our services here in the Yuba-Sutter County. Consider that the average state award is only $1,860. So I'd like to point out how successful we are in our advocating for our veterans and their dependents for our county. The 23-24 fiscal year brought to the county $4.7 million in retroactive payments received, and that is money that is spent directly in this area benefiting our community. The transformative impact of effective advocacy and assistance from our Veteran Service Office can be deeply rewarding and deeply moving. I've had the privilege of assisting many veterans obtain life-changing benefits. Specifically, one veteran is I've developed a close relationship with, being able to advocate for him. He's a Vietnam War veteran who recently obtained a 100% disability rating for his disabilities that occurred during his wartime service. And that Vietnam War was very many years ago, so he put off obtaining these benefits out of fear of the VA. So with our assistance in advocating, he obtained a benefit award of about $3,700 per month. He secured permanent housing. He went from being homeless in our streets, having to move around often, to securing his own residence. He is enrolled in permanent health care, has obtained inpatient and outpatient mental health treatment, and is now looking to attend classes that are fully funded by the VA to learn computer skills. Because he, quote, says, even though I'm an old guy, I want to learn how to use my phone. Our team at the Yuba-Sutter Veteran Service Office takes pride in our ability to advocate for the needs of our veterans and their families. We strive to deliver services in an approachable, knowledgeable, and respectful manner. We really want to ensure that our veterans and their dependents feel valued and supported throughout the benefits claims. Thank you for your time.
To the chair, I think those two are brothers, aren't they? I've gone through your veterans fairs and have 80% disability, so it's you're very effective. Marvin King has done a heck of a job.
Supervisor Vasquez, they're twins.
They're twins.
They're twins, the Goodmans. I just took a picture and sent it to the son. Yeah.
Yes, I think that officially makes them brothers if they're twins. Thank you, Tatiana, for sharing the fantastic work you guys are doing. That is it for our presentation. We're open to any questions that I can help with.
Well, to the chair, I'd like to say thank you very much for your efficiency as an organization. You've done everything better than any other place I've ever seen. And we just went through a thing with Meals on Wheels, and you took 5 days to do something that people couldn't do. And please tell staff we thank you immensely for your efficiency.
Thank you for the presentation, and thanks to all the presentations that we had today. It's really encouraging to see all these effectively operating departments and agencies and volunteers. So thanks again.
Thank you.
I think we are up to public communications. Natalie?
Any person may speak about any subject of concern, provided it is within the jurisdiction of the Board of Supervisors and is not already on today's agenda. The total amount of time allotted for receiving such public communication shall be limited to a total of 15 minutes, and each individual or group will be limited to no more than 3 minutes. Prior to this time, speakers are requested to fill out a request to speak card and submit it to the clerk of the Board of Supervisors.
Yes.
Please note, no board action can be taken on comments made under this heading. Through the chair, we have one request to speak card. Tony Farley.
Hi, Tony.
South County, South City. Yeah, I think Chief Saxon, for serving, I think the majority lawyer, for service. Her ding, Blaser, ding, Blaser the cowboy, and John Miss, another cowboy. Thank you, Jake Gary Bradford for the Sacramento, the Washington D.C. event. I like that event. The diversity officer, Seth. You're good. And thank you, Annie Vasquez, for service for reserve deputy and Vietnam Marine Corps veteran. I was thinking the guy who's 20 years old. Thank you for his service. Here, thank Kate Gibson for her service for both Yuba City, CHP, and Yuba County. She was first with CPD. I was with her with the Citizens Academy. Then later on, she went to the CHP in Sacramento. Then later on, she went to the Sheriff Department. So thank her for her service for 3 departments: city agency, a state agency, and a county agency. Her thank Rachel for her service. She was a replacement for Russ Brown. And sadly, Chuck Smith is now retired from Stark County. He's going to put Democrat as a editor. Her dang sheriff, he also was a former sergeant. Sadly, his ribbons got burned during the 2018 Cascade fire. That's messed up. Your ribbons got burned. Her dang John for a survey there. He is also the homeless guy here. Dang the lawful guy here. Dang for service. Thank you for your service.
Thanks, Tony. County departments. All matter listed under county departments are action items, which will be considered and voted on separately. First up, we have item 626, Sheriff Fuhrer. Just as a note, this is a 4/5 roll call vote.
Morning, Board. Nick Morzinski with the Yuba County Sheriff's Office. Super excited to be up here today for this particular item. I'm not asking for any money, this has been a long time coming, and again, a lot of hard work was put into it, and I'm just tickled to be presenting this. So what I'm asking of the board today is to accept the grant award from the Department of Justice COPS Community-Oriented Policing Technology and Equipment Program in the amount of $3 million for our regional interoperability and encryption communications project at the Yuba County Sheriff's Office. So how this all started, the Sheriff's Office is in dire need of new radios, new communication, being able to talk with our staff out in the field. Currently, our radios that we operate with are UHF frequency only, and that creates a lot of dead zones up within the county, especially up in the foothills. And having that link of communications, of course, as you guys can imagine, is so incredibly important, both for the officer safety and also for us to be able to respond to emergency situations. So with this project, with this funding, we're going to be able to upgrade our radio communications to not only be UHF, but also have the ability to run under VHF frequencies, 800 megahertz and 700 megahertz frequencies as well. A lot of our surrounding counties are running on these different systems and our regional partners, and with this new ability, we'll be able to talk with all of our bordering counties, our state partners, CAL FIRE, CHP. It's just a game changer for us. So back in March of 23, we were advised of a funding opportunity through the Congressional Community Project Funding, which is a federal program. We submitted a proposal for this particular project to our first district, first congressional district, Representative Congressman LaMalfa. And he picked it up and ran with it. Him and his staff took it to back to Washington, D.C. It ended up going through the Appropriations Committee and ultimately was approved by Congress for the fiscal year 2024. So with this $3 million, we're going to be purchasing over 300 new mobile and portable radios, not just for our department, but we included provisions for the probation department, district attorney's office, OES, and also Wheatland PD, who we dispatch for as well. So again, this is so big for us. These radios are very expensive. probably not something that we would have been able to get to anytime soon without this particular funding. So at the Sheriff's Office, we'd just like to extend such gratitude to Congressman LaMaffa and taking up the charge for us. We actually have David Morgan here, who's a representative of Congressman LaMaffa's office. I know LaMaffa's back in Washington, D.C. doing the people's work right now, right? Yes, sir. And going to let David say a few words.
Thank you, Undersheriff. This was one of those opportunities that came up. As you know, the Congress changes from time to time. And some of these projects, you know, we try to strike when the iron's hot. Getting these radios is part of the process of ensuring our first responders have the capability to continue to serve Yuba County, continue to serve the wider region that we have down here. And we're thankful for the opportunity and the partnership that the sheriff has proposed and the undersheriff here has pushed for. Countless hours of staff work to get this thing done. I know they had to really put down and get this thing going, especially last year with how quick the turnover was. We don't know next year if this will be an option yet, depending on the makeup of the Congress. But if it is, I know the Congressman's office will be open to any proposals we get from the board, sheriff's office, or any of our other local first responders. So with that, we're happy to get those radios for our guys and gals out there and make sure that they're safe and can get any backup or needs that they need. So thank you.
All right, so I'll open up to any questions if you guys have any.
So this is, it seems like we've been on a pretty good roll with the Sheriff's Department. We've been,
Yes, sir.
I'm pretty impressed. So we'll take any board comment, public comment, and then a motion. So anybody from the board?
Through the chair. This will definitely save lives and make sure that medical attention can be given to the hills, because there's so many gaps up there, you get lost.
I agree.
Thank you very much for working with us, and I'll make that motion.
So through the chair, that was kind of my question. Will this fill in these gaps that we have in District 5 where there's no service?
It's going to help with it.
It's going to help, but it won't cover all of them.
Yeah, at the risk of getting too techie. So we're still going to operate on UHF, but with these additional frequencies, it's called a trunking system that goes onto our repeaters. So if our deputy is in an area where it's one of those dead zones, it's going to automatically search for a frequency that it can receive on, trunk that over to UHF and send it through to our dispatch, all without the deputy having to change buttons or anything like that. So it's a pretty neat program.
Yeah. Eventually, we'll hopefully end up on Starlink.
Yeah.
So we know dead spots.
Sounds good to me.
Through the chair, this is a great opportunity for public safety in Yuba County, and I want to thank the Sheriff's Office for your diligence on pursuing this, and Congressman LaMalfa's office for their support. I know at one of the times I was back in DC, I reached out to several department heads before I went back there to ask what should I be talking about, and the Sheriff's Department said, hey, talk about this while you're back there. So I had a great opportunity while I was there to talk with LaMalfa's office, and it's great to see fruit come of those things, your effort and their effort, and so thank you.
Well, just to echo that a little bit with this funding, that's open to every congressional district in the nation, and the fact that little old Yuba County was able to secure a piece of that pie is a testament to the office work and also our staff. Our support services manager Casey Diaz worked so hard on this, and unfortunately I kind of get the limelight right now, but there's a lot of work that was put in to get this through. So.
Any other board comment? Any public comment? Seeing none, we'll take a motion.
Andy, I made a motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. This is a roll call 4/5 vote.
Supervisor Vasquez.
Yes.
Supervisor Blaser.
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhrer.
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford.
Yes.
Supervisor Messick.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank us. Thank us all. Next, we have item 618, Community Development and Services. Sorry.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
Morning, Chairman Blaser, the rest of the board. My name is Clark Patel, I'm the Director of Environmental Health. I'm here today to request the board authorize the release of requests for proposals for a remediation project located at 4533 Feather River Boulevard. To give you a little brief background, very quick, the owner allowed the tenant on this property without any formal lease or contract. While trying to evict him, the tenant intentionally dumped green waste on the property, causing a big problem there. Unfortunately, the owner himself is financially unable to get rid or remove of the green waste. I actually believe he's probably physically unable to, so he's in poor health as well. But CalRecycle, through their illegal disposal site program, has approved a grant assistance to the county in the amount of $500,000 to begin the removal process from the site. We're ready to move forward with the grant funding, and we are looking at a release of requests for proposals immediately with an anticipated start time for the project in January of 2025. The project would entail the removal of green waste on the southeast portion of the property. It represents approximately 25 to 35% of the organic material on the site. I do want to note that although this is an assistance grant to the county, the state's going to seek reimbursement from the property owner through a lien on his property. To be able to expend these grant funds, we are also requesting approval by the board of an increase in the environmental health professional services line item, as well as a corresponding increase in our revenue of $1 million. This increase is for the current anticipated $500,000 and what we anticipate future grant funding for this fiscal year. So with that, I'll take any questions you guys might have.
Any board questions? What was our financial impact to the county?
Zero.
Zero. That's what I thought.
It'd be staff time.
Zero is good. Okay. Any board comment?
Just excited to do it.
Yes.
Ready to go.
Move to approve.
So we have any public comment?
Through the chair, we have one request to speak card from Rennick House.
Good morning, Chairman Blaser and the rest of the board. Rennick House, Supervisor-elect for District 2. I just wanted to thank Clark and the whole Community Development Department for taking the time to get this request for proposals designed so quickly. A beta problem that's in our county that they can take care of. That's not using local sources, which is good. So appreciate it.
And you have family that lives close by, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
My parents, I grew up there right next door to it, and it's been an ongoing problem since the 90s, and lots of fires, lots of time from Linda Fire Department wasted out there, and a big public safety issue that's going to get corrected. So I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I so moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second, and once again, we'll need a 4/5 roll call vote.
Supervisor Vasquez.
Yes.
Supervisor Blaser.
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhrer.
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford.
Yes.
Supervisor Messick.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
6:15, County Administrator.
All right. Good morning, Chair, members of the board, Kevin Ballin, Yuba County Administrator. So the item before you today is a proposed second amendment to the employment agreement with our Community Development and Services Agency Director, Mike Lee. Just by way of background, Mike has been with the county just over 20 years, and he was the Public Works Director from 2006 to 2020, and then from 2020 to current, the Community Development Director. And so what's common with the county, with our at-will department head employees, is for them to have an employment agreement, which Mr. Lee does. And so before you today is the second amendment to his employment agreement, a couple cleanup items related to the duties section of his employment agreement, and then also in addition to the employment agreement in the supplemental benefits section that would allow Mr. Lee to convert up to 40 hours of vacation time to his deferred comp annually. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
could you explain the licenses that he carries and that he's been utilizing for the county for many, many years?
Yes, so Mr. Lee is both a licensed civil engineer in the state of California and also a licensed land surveyor in California. And both of those licenses are definitely valuable to the county. He's definitely the licensed civil engineer that enables you to serve as our public works director, which he did for a number of years. It also allows you to serve as the chief building official for the county, which is a required position for us to administer building permits, and so that has come in handy. And then the surveyor license is required because the county is required to have a county surveyor, and in order to approve subdivision maps, for example, which is very important to the growth of our county. And so in the absence of having another licensed county surveyor or licensed land surveyor, Mr. Lee has been able to step in that capacity, and which he's done for quite a few years because the county has been without a separate county surveyor position.
Any other board comment? Any public comment? And we can take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Nobody opposed? Moving on. Kevin, I think you're still up on item 643, related to the city of Marysville.
Yes, so good morning again. The item before you is a proposed grant agreement between the city of Marysville and Yuba County. So a little background on this. And this item has definitely received some press, and I know it's been at the forefront for a while. So, but I'll be brief. There was the fire in June. The city of Marysville has been diligently working to address the current state of that property, and the county has been and continues to be there to support the city as they work through that issue. We definitely have our Office of Emergency Services that has helped the city with their emergency declaration and kind of working through that issue with the state of California. We have actually Clark Piquel, who was just up here with environmental health, assisting with the response, as well as our Public Works Department assisting with Caltrans. So so to date, it's been assistance in the form of staff assistance and support to the city of Marysville. And so the item before the board today is some financial assistance to the city of Marysville to help them with kind of the next step in resolving the issue on that property. And so the city would like to move forward with improving the state of the burn structure to a point where traffic can be reopened on Highway 70, which is important not only to the city, but the county, frankly, to the region, to getting back to at least normalcy when it comes to the traffic patterns. Obviously, there will still need to be more work done on the property to get it to its final state and be able to kind of reutilize the property in a productive state. But this will at least the city's intent is to get it to a point where it can at least not be a hazard to the traveling public and neighboring properties. So the grant agreement that's before the board today, it's a very short-term agreement. The reimbursements would be eligible through June 30 of 2025. It is a reimbursement basis where the county would be reimbursing the city for their costs incurred to move forward with this work. Actually, with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have about it. And then also the city manager with the city of Marysville is here if you have any additional questions.
Through the chair. Given there's apparently a lawsuit against the owner, and we're not too sure how that's going to turn out, but do we have any provision in there in case there is a settlement that it goes toward the money that we invest as a county in that.
And I might defer to county council on this one, but there is a number 11 in the agreement is the anti-supplement. Geez, I got typed right there. Anyways, you're not supposed to supplant the funds the county is providing with other funds. So Janet, I'm not sure if there's any additional information you want to provide on that, but essentially what's being asked of the county, this $250,000, the costs to do the work is going to far exceed the $250,000. So I don't believe we're vulnerable where the entire cost of the remediation on the site is going to be covered by the owner, and that the city is going to profit from the county's $250,000 grant.
We can read, can't we? The other question I have is that any RFP that's issued, whatever bid is accepted, I would like for you and Mike Lee as engineers to take a look at the bids so that we don't end up like the sheriff's department did years ago, and that the things that we overlooked as far as making sure that all the avenues are covered, because you got asbestos in there and things like that. And also, could we have Mr. Burns, Dan Burns, also look at the bid plans so that any obstacles that he sees there would be called to attention? And we have any number of staff that are available to review that, so that because it's kind of hard to keep up with what California laws change. So can we do that?
If I could, through the chair, yeah. Staff, including myself, are definitely available to the city to help in any way we can. So Jim, actually, you can take the other podium if you want.
Well, walking on water is easy once you know where the rocks are. Yeah.
I might be able to lend some information. We have already bid this, the entire demolition out. Our engineering firm, MHM, put the bid spec together, and it did include all of the required state and federal requirements for both asbestos and worker safety when the job is done. It also requires a performance payment bond, as would be typical of any project like this. Another thing that has to be done is that a work plan has to be submitted to the US EPA for approval before the work starts. So we are very engaged with the US EPA, the California DTSC, and of course we will engage with the county. We have a structural engineer on board that will be supervising the contractor from this perspective to make sure that when the work is done, that the structure can be opened. And we also will be employing an industrial hygienist and an asbestos abatement firm to manage the protocols for the asbestos abatement.
Well, I've got a philosophy in you: measure twice and cut once. I've seen the work of Dan Burns successful on the Tri-County Juvenile Hall and on the mental facility in front of the courthouse. And I think that any extra effort we put in pencil-wise would save us.
More than happy to share anything with Mr. Burns.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the board have a question?
Through the chair, yeah, no question, just a comment. As Kevin said, I think this is truly a regional issue with regional impact. I mean, clearly there's significant impact to the city of Marysville, but there's also significant impact to Yuba County's employees getting to work, Yuba County's residents traversing through the area on Highway 70, and Yuba County's businesses are also impacted by this, in addition to the impact to city businesses. So, and I think Yuba City businesses are also impacted by this. I can just speak from personal experience that in the evening I go to Yuba City less than I used to due to traffic concerns. And so low. And I know Yuba City residents are coming to Yuba County less than they used to due to traffic concerns. And so you know, our constituents want this issue addressed as soon as possible. They want the highway open. That's their #1 priority. And I agree with them. And so I thank the city for working with the county to bring this before us. And I think it's very important for our region to try to get this highway opened as soon as possible.
Yeah, I'm going to echo exactly what Gary said. Then on top of that, we have farmers, contractors, public works. A lot of people have contacted us about their trucks just being stopped. You know, they're trying to get their work done. So it's definitely directly affecting the city of Marysville, but it's definitely a regional issue too. So we're here to help.
I'm very excited about this, and I'm hoping that we can expedite it so it doesn't go till June. I would love to see it get done in the next month. The EPA permission, do you know what the turnover time for that is going to be?
It's usually 10 days.
Fantastic. And so with the meeting today, the meeting next week with the water agency, is it then planned that we're going to start this in December?
Our schedule currently has us starting in December, early December, with a completion date in January, towards mid to end of January.
Anything we can do to make it even quicker would be awesome. I know that, go ahead.
Trust me, anything we can make it quicker would be in my best interest too.
All right. And I just want to give kudos to Mr. Stuart Gilchrist, who's out here, here today again to support this project. This project is happening because of his quick action to move it forward. So really, really appreciate his effort and partnership to make this happen.
So any other board comment?
I would like to make a comment too.
Oh, one moment. I did want to ask, did you want me to address Supervisor Vasquez's question about the agreement?
Are you good, Andy?
Well, it does not include the term that you were asking about. It has an anti-supplantation clause that says the money can only be used for the intended purpose and can't be used to cover other budget matters, but it does not specifically require that if there's a settlement received that this money would be paid back to the county.
So if I could, through the chair, and the reason why we didn't include the payback is because the cost to fully remediate the site will far exceed the $250,000 and what would reasonably be received from other sources.
So we have a in board comment. Any more public comment?
I said my comment.
Did you?
Yet.
I looked right over the top of you.
So I echo Gary's comments, as well as even clear out to Bill Air Force Base, those employees that live in Yuba City and have to get through this. I know my wife teaches at Linda School, and extra 20 minutes every day for her to get home from work. But do you guys have all the approvals to go ahead and get this started in December? Is there or legal hurdles?
We will be. We have the approvals. I've been directed to move forward with securing the funding, and we will be bringing to council, likely on the 17th, the approval of a contractor to do the demolition.
Yeah, but do you have like court authorization to now? Because I thought it was.
We do not have court. Well, let me back up. We have had.
I was going to say, go ahead.
We have had 3 different judgments to date. The first judgment by Judge Barrier gave us approval on a warrant to either shore up the building's top floor or remove the top floor walls based on our structural engineer's report. So he gave us approval on a warrant. He did not give us approval to demolish the whole building. The second judgment was an appeal panel of 3 building officials held at the city, and they unanimously gave a judgment that that the owner is responsible for removing the nuisance, and that the city can take action if the owner does not, and collect the damages for that. The third judgment was from Judge Gibbons, and she reiterated what the panel stated, and that it's the owner owner's responsibility to remediate the issue, and the city had the ability to remediate if the owner did not.
Okay.
Those can all be appealed.
Yeah. So my other comment is just that, you know, you guys are getting beat up so badly on social media, and you continue to push forward and get things done, despite everybody's, you know, comments and everything else. And even the owners now are like bashing you guys with false stuff. So I'm just happy to see you guys continue to push forward and try to get this solved, because it is really a major traffic issue. This is the first year ever I haven't had to harvest any walnuts south of the Yuba River. I'm so happy, because I used to harvest all of Simpson Lane and Arboga, and I had nothing down there this year. It would have been just, I don't know how I would have handled it.
To perhaps explain a little more, this removal of the top walls is obviously the first phase of a demolition. The rest of the demolition would have to happen later, and funds would have to be secured for that. There is an EPA grant out there, a U.S. EPA grant out there that we're seeking. It is due on the 15th of November, and we would need to have ownership of the property to move forward with that. So not necessarily high prospects at this point, but that is an option, and there's another round the following year. The issue has consistently been the regional traffic issue and the negative effect on businesses versus the expenditure of taxpayer money. And so from the city's perspective, those are the two things we hear on a regular basis. When is the city going to do something about the hotel and the traffic? And secondly, is the city going to spend my taxpayer money on mitigating a private property issue? So those are the two issues that don't necessarily fit well together, and this is a solution to at least temporarily get the highway open.
I so move.
I'll second. First, I have to ask for public comment.
Through the chair, we have one request to speak card. Mr. Rennickhouse.
Good morning again, Rennickhouse, Supervisor-elect District 2. I just wanted to let you guys know that I fully support this as well. Taking a lot of phone calls of people concerned in Linda that they can't get to their services for medical and behavioral health services in Yuba City, and it's hard enough to get over a couple of rivers without an hour-long line of traffic. So commend Marysville for pushing this forward, and the supervisors for being so open-minded. Thank you, guys.
Stewart, our council member, has a quick comment.
I represent the residents of Marysville and the business owners, and I want to thank the supervisors for considering this grant, and I want to thank the administrative board for putting all of this together. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Stuart. I believe we have our comments. Kevin, did you have something else?
I just wanted to make sure it was clear to the board. So the action item, it does require a 4/5 vote. It would be the board pulling $250,000 from contingencies to be utilized for this grant.
So I think we have all of our comments. Now we'll take a motion. We have a motion and a second. And Natalie, this is a 4/5 roll call vote.
Supervisor Vasquez.
Yes.
Supervisor Blaser.
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhrer.
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford.
Yes.
Supervisor Messick.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great.
Thank you, and we're very happy to open up the highway if we can. We are quickly, we had a little bit of correspondence. Natalie, do you want to read that? Then we're going to take a quick 5-minute break. We've already had a big break.
The board may direct any item of informational correspondence to a department head for appropriate action. We have 2 items. Item 612-2024, received notice from United States Fish and Wildlife Service regarding the initiation of a 5-year status review for 19 species listed under the Endangered Species Act. And item 645-2024, received notice from California Wildlife Conservation Board regarding the consideration of the acquisition of a conservation easement over wildlife habitat located in Yuba County to be presented at the November 21st, 2024 board meeting.
Okay, now we're going to take a very short break.
Through the chair, it is the 21st meeting of the Wildlife Conservation Board.
Okay, very quick break, then we'll do board and staff reports, and then we're going to go into closed session.
And Ted Langdell, we're here in the Yuba-Sutter.live control room, and the meeting is coming from the Yuba County Government Center, and we are going to take a little bit of a break here to let you know about some of the folks who have been helping to bring the live government streams to you for a number of years here. And I don't know why we have the Veterans Day Parade up there, but this is the Yuba County Supervisors. Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com. And some of the other folks who are very helpful in terms of making sure that we are able to bring you programming are people like Neil Goforth.
Hi, I'm Neil Goforth of Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties. Caring for elders or even yourself has challenges. Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties can help you address today's issues and plan for tomorrow with in-home and specialized care for you or your family members. Call us at 530-749-8800. Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties.
In Marysville, where roots run deep, McNally Appliances promises to keep the best brands with a smile on its face. We service what we sell, it's a warm embrace. Competitive pricing you can't ignore. With every purchase you'll love it more. From fridges to washers, all in a line. We install with care to make it shine. Major brands, trusted and true. McNally Appliances is here for you. Oh, Nally McNally, we're your first choice. In Marysville, we help you rejoice. We service what we sell, no need to stress. At McNally Appliances, we're simply the best. Our promise stands, we'll always be here. McNally Appliances, bringing you cheer.
McNally Appliances, 119 D Street, Marysville. McNallyAppliances.com.
Thinking good vibes one day at a time. At Edible Memories, life is sublime. In every bite, you'll find a dream. Join us now, let your heart beam. Step inside, sharing the fun. Edible Memories Bakery, where happiness runs.
Edible Memories Bakery, 321 3rd Street, Marysville. EdibleMemoriesBakery.com.
And while Yuba County supervisors are taking a break, we're going to tell you a little bit more about what's going on around Yuba-Sutter, as we have a number of meetings going on today. And there are some changes happening. In the Yuba County Supervisors meeting that you've just seen today, and can take a look at, they learned what was happening with the Sutter-Yuba Homeless Consortium and plans for the count of homeless that's coming up in the next month. Yuba County Historical Resources Commission delivered its quarterly report. A lot of information there. Also, info from the Health and Human Services Department. You saw the supervisors accept a $3 million federal grant to upgrade and encrypt radio traffic in Yuba County as part of the Yuba County Regional Interoperability and Encryption Communications Project. This project is going to provide the first responders in Yuba County with not just UHF, but also VHF, 700 megahertz and 800 megahertz capabilities. The Sheriff's Department says it will enable communications with all bordering counties, regional partners, state agencies like CAL FIRE, CHP, and the California Radio Interoperability System. In part, it will address some of the UHF frequency dead zones that are up in the foothills area in particular, and those dead zones prevent the county's deputies from getting or transmitting radio communication, especially a problem if there's an emergency like a fire or some other action going on up there. Could be a medical issue or could be some sort of crime. Trunking will enable the staff to utilize various alternative frequencies without having to sit there and push buttons, according to Under Sheriff Nick Morozinski. And as you heard earlier, they're spending $1 million in grant money to fix fire hazards at the wood waste processing yard that caught fire earlier this summer down at 4533 Feather River Boulevard. That's Grove Biomass. That not only created emergency response issues, but it created some fire hazard problems. Or I should say not just fire hazard, but air quality hazards, among others. Piles were smoldering for weeks and weeks, and environmental health proposed and supervisors approved this $1 million project to clean up the problem. That involves chipping, grinding, mulching, or carbonizing what's there to shrink the volume, and then that stuff will be removed. So a lot going on, and that work is expected to begin sometime after a contract is awarded in January and should be completed before the end of June in 2025. Signage in Yuba County Airport and the industrial park is going to get a refresh as a result of actions that supervisors took earlier today. And those new signs and refurbishment of others will make the place look much nicer, and will update some of the businesses that are located around there. $230,000 devoted that. Some of those signs are fairly large lighted signs with large bases, and that also affects the cost. There are other meetings coming up today. We're going to give you a little look at what's happening with those meetings here. Let's get that up here. So obviously still going on, the meeting that we've been having with the Yuba County Supervisors. Sutter County has several different things on their agenda today at 3 o'clock. Looks like the meeting times will stay at 3 p.m. on the second and fourth Tuesdays of each month at the Yuba City Council Chambers. Approving of the meeting schedule for 2025 is on the agenda. Also on the agenda, closing county offices for all of Christmas week. Christmas Eve is on a Tuesday and Christmas is a Wednesday, and the offices are already set to be closed. Many county offices asked for permission to close the whole week, and that's up for review and approval in the 3 o'clock Sutter County Supervisors meeting. And the Yuba City Unified Schools are also ready to approve their attendance calendars for school trustee approval tonight. Kindergarten through high school classes would start on Wednesday, August 13th, 2025, and end on Friday, June 5th of 2026. Albert Powell High School and Yuba City Independence Academy would start on Wednesday, August 6th of 2025, and wrap up on Friday, June 5th of 2026. That's on the Yuba City Unified School District calendar. They're also talking about the mobile communications device policy again. It's back for revisions. This draft policy defines what mobile devices are, what regulates or what the regulations are when they cannot be used, and also when they can be confiscated and searched. In general, mobile devices must be off and out of sight during the school day. High school students can't use them during classes, but they can during non-instructional time, according to this draft. They can be used, quote, in case of an emergency or in response to a perceived threat of danger, unquote. Trustees discussed this at length during several earlier board meetings, and they may approve this revised committee or this revised policy tonight. That's beginning at 7 o'clock, and you'll see that and hear that live right here on Yuba-Sutter.live, 7 o'clock tonight. There are also 3 new course proposals up for inclusion in the 2024-25 school year, and that is a cybersecurity course. that looks like the meeting is getting back to order here, so we're going to go back to Yuba County.
Supervisor Fuhrer.
We probably don't want to wait till after everybody leaves to do board member comments next time. But we had a great parade and we had a great election. So congratulations to anyone who's listening to who won, and condolences if you didn't. Coming up, we have ribbon cuttings. I missed the one at 10:30 today, but we have a nonprofit opened up by one of our Health and Human Services people, I believe, on Thursday, the Sedona Project. And then on Friday, we have County Office of Ed. So that's good stuff. We have a community task force meeting in Olivehurst on Thursday. And I want to say there's folk music happening in a week from Saturday. And I might play over there because I'm a huge folk music guy. So you guys should all come and see that.
What do you
maybe bring earplugs? I don't know. I'm going to bring a theremin or some bongo drums. I don't know. I've never learned a musical instrument, but I have a week.
Mala Harris has some bongo drums they use in the background for her.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. I'll have her come over and we'll do a duet. So,
Supervisor Bradford.
So first, a couple thank yous. Supervisor Fuhrer mentioned related to the elections. I know we have a lot of dedicated county staff and community members that work really hard on election day, before election day, and are still working very hard to ensure that everyone's vote is counted and everyone has the opportunity to make their voice heard. And so just really want to give a shout out to everyone involved in elections across the board. I was able to, on election day, visit the 5 polling sites in my district where there were 44 community and Yuba County volunteers and provide them some treat cookies. And they really enjoyed that, and I enjoyed saying hello to all of them. So it was great. Also, the Plumas Lake cleanup partnership with Recology happened this last weekend, and it was the first time we actually had a uniquely Plumas Lake cleanup. In the past, we've partnered either with the city of Wheatland and done a cleanup there, or for multiple years shared a cleanup with Olivehurst out at the airport. And it went really, really well, and I look forward to doing it again next year. It was very well attended. So Public Works was out there, Recology was out there, and it went great. So thanks to all the staff that spent their Saturday, a large chunk of their Saturday out there helping with that. Also, last week, I had a meeting out at Yuba County Airport with Jason Copping and Rachel Downs. We were doing a tour. There's a CCA operator or a CCA defense contractor, which is a collaborative combat aircraft, which is one of the missions we're looking to hopefully get brought to Beale. And they're headquartered down in Roseville, and they do some operations here in the Sacramento area and some operations in Oklahoma. And we toured the airport to see if there's opportunities for them to be doing some of their operations here in Yuba County as well. And so that went very well, and I know we're going to keep exploring those potentials for them to maybe join us here in Yuba County, and that'd be great. Last Friday night, I went to the Red Kettle Kickoff at Hard Rock for the Salvation Army. Appreciate their partnership in the community, both with the county and other things they do in the community. They do a ton for homeless and others. Also, SACOG has a board meeting this week, and we continue to work on the 2025 blueprint, which is the regional transportation and land use plan for the next 25 years. And I'm excited to announce that in the draft transportation list, project transportation list, which is one of the things that we'll be voting on Thursday, all of the large CITIA projects are mentioned in that plan. The Plumas Lake Boulevard extension and the South Beale Road interchange are directly in the plan, and the East Wheeland Expressway is basically listed in a special category that if we get some funding, it can be amended into the plan. And so hard work based on our public works staff, and also want to thank SACOG staff and my fellow SACOG board member for supporting the inclusion of all those projects. And finally, next week is the annual CSAC meeting. Supervisor Messick and I will be down there attending that, as well as Supervisor-elect House. So looking forward to getting together with my fellow supervisors from around the state and my supervisors from right here in Yuba. So.
Okay, Mr. Supervisor Messick.
I'm tired from Gary's presentation, so glad to be done with walnut harvest and looking forward to going to CSAC next week as well. And thank you guys for allowing me to present my neighbor with his 100-year proclamation. So, been my neighbor for 60 years.
County Council. Kevin?
I get the green light to stay on. Just a quick note, and the board members may have been aware of it because it definitely got some social media attention. So there was an emailed bomb threat to elections on Friday evening. The building was evacuated. The sheriff's office responded. We had assistance from the bomb group out at Beale Air Force Base. They have, a bomb sniffing dog. Cleared the building. There was nothing there. False alarm. But our IT department did a little bit of follow up, and it looks like it was from an email source somewhere in Poland, Russia. Like it was one of those, and I guess it sounds like it was on a national level. There was a lot of elections offices that received similar threats. So
interesting.
Yep.
Natalie, do you know of anything from the clerk's office?
Nothing from us, thank you.
I was just going to briefly mention that we all were in attendance to the Veterans Parade. It stopped raining just before the parade, I think. And so that was always one of our better parades. And then the Swan Festival was mentioned earlier. That was on the weekend, and that's really a good event for the area too. So we are not taking any more breaks. We're going to close session.
Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
Hi, I'm Neil Goforth of Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties. Caring for elders or even yourself has challenges. Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties can help you address today's issues and plan for tomorrow with in-home and specialized care for you or your family members. Call us at 530-749-8800. Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties.
Marysville, where roots run deep, McCallie Appliances promises to keep the best brands with a smile on its face. We service what we sell, it's a warm embrace. In Marysville, where roots run deep, McCallie Appliances promises to keep the best brands with a smile on its face. We service what we sell, it's a warm embrace. Competitive pricing you can't ignore. With every purchase you'll love it more. From fridges to washers, all in a line. We install with care to make it shine. Major brands, trusted and true. McNally Appliances is here for you. Oh, Nally McNally, we're your first choice. In Marysville, we help you rejoice. We service what we sell, no need to stress. At McNally Appliances, we're simply the best. Our promise stands, we'll always be here. McNally Appliances, bringing your cheer.
McNally Appliances, 119 D Street, Marysville. McNallyAppliances.com.
Thinking good vibes one day at a time. At Edible Memories, life is sublime. In every bite, you'll find a dream. Join us now, let your heart beat. Step inside, sharing the fun. Edible Memories Bakery, where happiness runs.
Edible Memories Bakery, 321 3rd Street, Marysville. EdibleMemoriesBakery.com.
Hi, I'm Seth Fuhrer with Nickel Tax and Financial Planning, and I'm your financial ally. With years of expertise, we at Nickel Tax go the extra mile to maximize your refund and get the largest allowed by law. With Seth Fuhrer and family at Nickel Tax, it's not just about the numbers, it's about personalized service that fits your unique financial goals. That's why we fight for our clients here at Nickel Tax and Financial Planning, where Seth Fuhrer and family are going to
save you more than just nickels.
NICKELL tax.com.
In the heart of the valley, we rise so bright, where the news flows freely in the morning light. Yuba-Sutter.live, where truth comes alive. Every Tuesday's a journey, it's where we thrive. Watch it unfold. Yuba-Sutter.live, in the heart of our home. Be informed, be wise. Yuba-Sutter.live, we capture it all. Policy debates, hear the people's call. With Yuba-Sutter.live, you'll never miss a beat. Special reports hit hard, shining a spotlight. Yuba-Sutter.live. Yuba-Sutter.live.
And we have a lot of meetings going on tonight and this afternoon, as we've mentioned earlier in our live streams here. And if we can get that one to go away, we'll tell you more about it coming up 3 o'clock at right here on Yuba-Sutter.live. We have the Sutter County Supervisors regular meeting. We also have a 4 o'clock special Marysville City Council meeting, 5:30 p.m. Marysville Unified School Trustees. A good bit of stuff going on there. There are agenda links in the document that's below the video that you're watching. And then at 7 o'clock we have the Yuba City Trustees regular meeting. All of these presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake. And we're very happy to thank them for their support over the years. We're very happy that you have been watching, and we would like to thank you for doing so. Anyway, Ted Langdell, you can watch our live streams on Yuba-Sutter.live's Facebook and YouTube pages. That would be those right there, facebook.com/livestreamingys, and on youtube.com/the Yuba-Sutter Live. Yuba-Sutter Live, I should say. Make sure you get the right thing in there. So we're very happy that you're able to come and watch this morning. And if you would like to, we'd appreciate it if you would like, follow, subscribe, and share the live streams that we do, the pages and channels when they pop up. Thank you very much for that. And if you are so moved, you can support Yuba-Sutter.live. It's very easy to do. There's a link in the video below. You can just click on the link. It'll take you to a PayPal page. You don't need a PayPal account. You just click on that and you can make a contribution, a regular contribution on a monthly basis, for example, or just a one-time contribution. Your support does help keep Yuba-Sutter.live alive and expanding, and some of those things that help in that regard include, where is that? Here we are. Let me do a little cleanup here. We do get support from a number of people like Brett Hasty, Gary Bradford, Chris Branscombe, the mayor of Marysville, Neil Goforth, and other folks who have contributed over the years. So you can join the crowd, support Yuba-Sutter.live, just click on the link down below. We would appreciate it, and we'd mention your name, as a matter of fact. You're watching Yuba-Sutter.live, which is Yuba-Sutter's equivalent to a television station.
In the heart of the valley, we rise so bright, where the news flows freely in the morning light. Yuba-Sutter.live, where truth comes alive. Every Tuesday's a journey, it's where we thrive. Watch it unfold. Yuba-Sutter.live, in the heart of our home. Be informed, be wise. Yuba-Sutter.live. lives. We capture it all. Policy debates, hear the people's call. With Yuba-Sutter live, you'll never miss a beat. Special reports hit hard, shining a spotlight. Yuba-Sutter live. Yuba-Sutter live.
And among the people that we'd like to thank for watching this morning, Margie Rollins, who is one of the new people elected to office in the Yuba-Sutter area. She's one of the 2 people that were elected to the Marysville City Council in the most recent election last Tuesday. We'd also like to thank Tiffany Renee Stranix, who was watching earlier on Facebook. Also Nicole Waldeck Woods, Jess Lee, and Candy Grimm. So thank you all for watching Yuba-Sutter.live, and we will see you coming up during the Sutter County school. I should know what I'm talking about here. The Sutter County Supervisors meeting that's coming up at 3 o'clock right here on Yuba-Sutter.live. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you again soon.